Sin was, I knew that was gonna happen, yo, because every time it started getting deep, they glitch everything. That's just a fact, yo. So sin was the action that happened after you was manipulated. So they would manipulate you as far as a particular understanding, and this is how they got control of the Moors. Like, the Moors wasn't even existing then. I shouldn't even had to say that. But the first beings, the first ones that was just, their eyes was pure light. They ain't need no food. They walked around with like cloaks over them, and like they talking about, even when they tell you the story, they was like, yo, who the people that was here when Adam and Eve was born and all, when they came into fruition? Like, who was the people that was here? And they like, yo, who was it? Nobody don't really know. They talking about the true creation of divine. So the true creation of divine, they had to be broken down. So this is where temptation came at. You know what I'm saying? So they would sell them on ideas. So you had the fallen selling the children on ideas. That's why it's always about a child. When you speak about children, it's not particularly a child in that retrospect at that time, but it's a child to the divine energy, that pure divine energy. So they was able to manipulate that because it was no concepts of reality at that point. It was no going to the corner store, loving your woman. It was none of that. It wasn't, I'm about to drive a car. It was none of that. It wasn't even existent. And actual Caucasian people was still being formulated. They wasn't even complete yet. You know what I'm saying? So what was happening was they had to set the stage of what was going to take place. They had to set the stage. I hope I can put this together, yo. Like, they had to set the stage. So after they set the stage, as far as the manipulation, this was, and as far as my creation, I can see it probably 10,000 years before Barubador. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, I keep getting I can see flashes of other creations that existed before some of the cities that was in the divine jungles that were being protected. And I can see some of the women, because the women were easily manipulated through being and feeling. So they were able, this is how they even get the concept of, the snake and the apple. That's not the first time. That's only that story that they was able to solidify into a story. Now keep in mind, manipulation has to take time. So you have to have something that you've done in order to have that as a revelation. You know what I'm saying? It has to be done already to have it as something that you can implicate again, basically. So they had already been doing it, but it was like the first time it ain't really worked like that. And they was able to fight back. You know what I'm saying? So these stories is like kind of blurry to me a little bit, but that's like 100,000 years before Christ. You know what I'm saying? So I'm seeing this like that. The lake of fire. The lake of fire was compromised. That means the original beings saw some of the original beings compromised by the fallen ones. And they were like, they gotta die. They can't exist. They're compromised. They're not pure energy no more. So we took it upon ourselves to put them in a cauldron and burn them. We destroyed our own seeds. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't our seeds, but we destroyed the seed that was compromised. You see what I'm saying? By the fallen. We murdered them and got them up out of here, because now you compromise. You're not even, you don't got the light of the divine no more. So that warrior spirit had to be birthed. Man, this gonna be like it's gonna be like 4 parts to this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna get real deep. So like I'm saying, so as it first started taking place, they had to keep trying to implicate this as a value. And it wasn't all of them that was doing this. It was that main one and probably a couple other ones that would go with them, because they was able to be the first ones to stand up. You know what I'm saying? Like they was able to stand up. And you gotta keep in mind, standing up was a very difficult thing. To be able to walk on 2 feet was a difficult thing. But if you watch the movies, if you read the books, it's one thing that stand out all the time, is they show you them from the bottom going up. From the bottom going up, they tell you about their feet. Even when they speak about Jesus, they tell you about his feet. And the reason why they did that is to change the concept of what the feet, how the feet were, because that was That's the first time they stood up after being brought low. So once they was able to stand up, they felt equal, right? They felt equal with a creation of divinity. They felt like they were in good standing. That's how these words even come like that. Good standing. You're standing good. You're standing good because you were brought low. It's a fact. So now they don't know about the concept of clothes or being covered up or nothing like that. Keep in mind, these is beings that were angelic at one point. So their feet, right, had claws on them. They had a cloak on them, and then you seen the claws on their feet. It was light colored. Light, and claws. It made them like beasts. And that was the first revere. They was like, yo, they beasts. Look at their feet. And then they knew. See, you got to understand the beings in the universe. I like to use the term dominatic. So emeralds, high precious metals is how their skin was conducted or attached by melanin. So this is how they really would look if they had the purest, highest level of divine energy on them. They'll be shining, the shining ones. So since all that got stripped from them, they had to recreate the story. This is where you even get the feet of brass, the feet of bronze, and all that. They wanted to cover up the feet. So yeah, this shit gonna get deep, yo. So for a while, they tried to manipulate and keep manipulating. While they doing this, they creating their own nation. They creating their own type of people. And this is why they said spaceship, Anunnaki and all this other bull crap is wrote in the book, stitching and all this founded. Ain't nobody find nothing. That was all a plot and plan to get that to come to fruition. So you don't see them as the ultimate disrespect or defiling the name of the Most High. But keep in mind though, just because you was created by them doesn't mean you couldn't have made your own choice, because their base was free will. So you had the Satan, or the one that would go against, always yelling at the sky. Always out there like, all right. So then every so often with that level of disrespect, and then they would see that they was trying to like do it, because you got to keep in mind, they were supposed to be getting it together so they can look after the seeds that were here. But they were losing because they were very powerful. The seeds were very, very powerful. If you want to call them primordial beings or whatever, they were very, very powerful. They were powerful in the way of having a direct connection or umbilical cord to the source of all energies. You know what I'm saying? So they was like being able to pull a lot of energy in at one time. And that was a remembrance for the fall. And they was like, wow, they getting a lot of energy. If we could tap into some of that energy right there, we might be able to go home. You ain't going nowhere. So that's what happened, yo. Like, that's how it started. Like, that's how it started in the beginning. And this is why the manipulation, the temptation, and all that played a role, so they can get more of that energy from pure divine beings. They was hoping that if they can do that, then it would change them. So it's not like it ain't a war that took place. So the manager came down. They said, oh, God came down and fought these beings, the reptilians, right? They talking about the beast. They talking about how they were stuck in a bestiality form. That's what they're talking about. This is time going by. Like, the earth been here a minute. They don't know. They can't tell you how long the earth, but the earth been here a minute, yo. So how they're stuck in this bestiality form. They can only change in a lower level of that. They can't grow back to where they came from, but you can change in between being this low level animal. So the manager that, you got to go said, I got to go down there because they down there doing too much. So they had a war. It's the African brother that spoke about the war. This is like way after a lot. This is like, I'm jumping way past Adam and Eve and all that now. I'm going past that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going way in the future past that. So they had a war at some point with what people like to call God. It wasn't God as a representation of God, because God is not a physical being. Period. Divine is not a physical being. It's not going to be like, hey, what's going on? I'm divine. I'm going to shake your hand. You could not stand within feet of divine. Nothing can. Okay, so with that being said, this representation of divine came and they had a war. And when they had a war, instead of like, because he can't destroy them because he didn't create them. Got to keep in mind, that's something to keep in the back of your head. Only thing that can really destroy you is what created you. So that's why even when I've been through so much in my life, if I ever was put in a situation where somebody said it's going to do something to me, the first thing that always popped out of me was, you can't take me because you ain't make me. And it'll come like a lion roar. Like, I know that for a fact. So the manager couldn't kill the fallen ones. It can just remove the strength from them. So what happened was they got in like a war in some sense, because they was plotting and planning for a long time, and the seeds was getting big. The seeds was growing. They was growing. Like, some of the seeds had made it and they done checked out. They already got they light bodies and they up out of here. You know what I'm saying? They left already. But this was supposed to be a place where this process was reoccurring. It's supposed to keep going. So this is even why Germany was able to document, you know, divine beings or black people with halos and stuff like that. Like I'm saying, I'm going to jump around a little bit. So that's what I'm saying. It's been a lot of rises of divine beings from here that they failed trying to stop from leaving the earth. They want to hitch a ride, you know, like they like to say, they're trying to ride on your coattail type energy. You know what I'm saying? So what happened was, in the war, they had a big war that they had nothing. It was just the manager came down here, and he came down here with a couple angels that stayed behind. They was like, nah, we ain't rocking with them. You know what I'm saying? It was like a handful of them. And they laid waste. They laid waste to all of them. Like, even the Satan, he ran and hid up under the mountain. Like, he was like, no. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he ain't want to smoke. Like, so that's why they call them unclean and all that. You know what I'm saying? Because they stayed in the dirt. That's where they can hide at, in the low. They can go low. They can hide in the mud. They can hide in the dirt. They can hide in dead flesh and all that. Like, in bodies, they can hide. You know what I'm saying? It's the best you get. It's like best you got is being a maggot. You know what I'm saying? So they hate you talking to them like that. So what happened was, instead of having them murdered or killed off, he smacked the face off them. So they got a face, but they can't eat nothing. They can't take flesh and eat it no more. Keep in mind, I told you, when they came, they was drinking the blood, the plasma, because it had electricity in it. It had the energies in it. You know what I'm saying? That's what allowed some of the stronger ones to stand up. You know what I'm saying? So when they was knocked back down after the war, he's like, yo, you know, I'm gonna make it to where you can't eat nothing. Bye, he smacked the mouth off them. Like, so now they can't even talk to you. They can't say nothing to you. You see what I'm saying? They can't eat nothing. You know what I'm saying? So what they had was, they can feed off your emotions. That was the energy. Like, everything is energy. I'm telling y'all, everything is energy. So that's when you really get the kickoff of what we dealing with in this particular energy, because it's not like you can know it. You can't know it until the energy appears as that is a value. So over a period of time, it started playing a different role. So now you gotta keep in mind, everything is diluting though. It was supposed to go up, but when they got that taken off, they was able to siphon energy, right? So it's easy to drop a mountain on a city, burn some stuff, you know what I'm saying, and have everybody crying out. Like, it's easy, like, for a long time. That's why I say, yo, like, the cities, they were looking for the cities, right? So the death of the children, that's like, you know what they tell you in the Bible, they be like, yo, you hurting divine kids, like sticking a thorn in the eye of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? So this is why it was like, it's to defile the divine. So everything, now we can go all the way back. We can go all the way back now. We can jump back like 100,000 years now, go back. We can go all the way back now. So now, while they got the Caucasians and they cooking the Caucasians over a period of time or whatever, they're being made out of death. Everything that they lay waste to, that's the only way they can create. Everything they lay in waste to, that's the only way they can create. So It's where you get this bestiality understanding. They're watching how the animals devour and all that, you know what I'm saying? And they're getting this understanding of concepts. So, like I said, the women were more easily able to be manipulated. Don't ask me why. I don't know. But through that concept of understanding, it was, and you know, me saying I don't know just now, it kind of just was like this why. So, because it was familiar. You gotta keep in mind, Satan, the one that goes against, remember what it came from. So it's like, yeah, I'm a divine being too. We came down here to look after y'all. Come with me. I'm going to show you. I got some power up here on this mountain. So this is how temptation started even being formulated. So I can like cast some light over there. That's why they call you. That's why they say you got the little light and the greater light. You know what I'm saying? So he used to use the little light to get attention and use it as it's a greater light. So they manipulate them. Come over here and let you talk to the creator. The creator proud of you. You know what I'm saying? I got some gifts for you because you did so good down here. Y'all growing so well. Come over here. It's like, oh, yo, no. Those are the ones supposed to be looking at. I knew they was coming. Right? This loving heart that we got. This heart that we got. It loves so much. We believe. We believed. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing, because keep in mind, they didn't show up on time because they went against their own process. So now you know they coming, but you ain't getting the memo because Almighty ain't checking for nothing. Almighty ain't like, yo, they not coming now, so I gotta do something different. Almighty not saying that. Almighty like, yo, those my seeds. They gonna be all right. So now they like, yo, that's what we gonna do. We gonna do it like this. So then they start playing this implication game of manipulation, which starts to bring forth sin. Because now it's gonna be a conversation in between you and I. If you come tell me, right? You come tell me, they here. And I'm like, something don't feel right about that because XYZ was supposed to take place if they actually came. And we ain't did none of that. So I wouldn't go do that. But they showed us the light already. I know it's them. That's her. Like, yo, come with me. So she all gun-ho. She go. Power through the roof right now. She like, yeah, I'm about to go see what's up. Get hit with the whammo. And she bring it back. Like, yo, something ain't right about you. And then it goes down. This is why the name of the woman was in disdain so much. If I speed it up to Berubador, 100,000 years before Christ, they show you in stone the women giving away their babies. Like literally giving their babies away for trade. Like maybe if I was to concept how that took place, it was like, well, divine want to look at the children and see how well they're growing. Give me your children. I believe you. I trust you. Here you go. It's like the best fruit. So they take that fruit and devour the kids and use that energy to get more powerful. It's what they knew about the pineal gland, the connection, the Christos and all that. The Naga energy, it was Naga first. You know what I'm saying? Like it got intertwined with the beast. So now they get a hit of crack. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? So then here come the first, that's the very, very first war. They had to get that energy taken up out of them. Like, nah, they ain't supposed to be doing this. So it came down, ran back in the mountains, you know what I'm saying? So they stayed in the mountains for a minute. They stayed in those mountains while they were creating, but they started thinking that if we can't use this energy for us, we can use this energy to create our own nation. So keep in mind, we done spread across everything. And every time a war would happen, sometimes you didn't even know the war was taking place because they would just get trapped where they supposed to be trapped at. It's the same reason why when we built castles, we had prisons under the castle. Same reason. That's why castles are built like mountains. So it's all following behind that as an understanding. So we still talking way before Christ even came into the world. They ran this process in the ground over and over and over and over. See, I'm 19 minutes in right now, yo, and I'm gonna have to try to put these two joints right here as a part one, part two, because the other one clipped off. It's a lot, yo. It's a lot. Anyway, and that's just the beginning. That's the clear beginning right there. You know what I'm saying? So um, their whole job was they thought they can destroy the seeds of the Almighty. But the best they got from that was taking some of that energy and using it to create their own nation. So when they created the Caucasians, they instilled everything against them. So when y'all praying or y'all going to church and you representing something, it's a wash over your face. You don't know that you praying to what went against divine. That's why you see everything that has the natural look to it as a disdain. It's ingrained into you. You don't know this. And they had to literally teach you how to manipulate, so therefore you can bring the temptation to my culture, to the original beings, and insert that into them, so then they would actually be agents to help this process in the future. I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna come back with because this second one, I'm gonna come back with part 2, 3. It might be 5 parts to this, but I'm gonna drop 2 of them right now, because the other one clipped off and I wasn't able to say it in the first one. So these 2 are about to get uploaded, and I'm gonna bring 2 more. It's gonna get real deep because the story is, and it ain't nobody gonna tell you like this though. I'm telling you, yo, like, this is ill. We ain't even get to really what happened with Adam and Eve yet. You know what I'm saying? But because we still got some more to talk about what happened before that. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to show you how the needles were implicated as the manipulation. This is a time period. All right, NAGA the Wise.